Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be giving you my full review for the J35A Draken, the high BR Swedish premium fighter that was introduced in the direct hit update for War Thunder. I'll go over everything that you need to know about it, including its stats, its role, its strengths and weaknesses, and then give you a final recommendation on if the J35A pack is worth purchasing, all while having great gameplay in the background. Please subscribe if you want more content like this, but without further ado, let's get into it. So to start, I'll be placing the Draken's stats on the screen over here just so that you can peruse it and so that we can get this review done a little bit quicker because I know your time is important. So the J35A Draken is currently a 9.7 BR Swedish premium fighter that has that BR in both AB and RB. Costs around $60 USD to purchase and comes with 2,000 golden eagles and 15 days of premium time. Other planes of similar BR that you might consider purchasing are the F5C, the A5C, the SU7 BMK, the J29D, and a few more, all of which I'll go over a little bit in my final recommendation. Now for this Draken's role, it's pretty simple. It's really just a dogfighter, coming equipped with a total of 4 RB-24 missiles, even if they are equivalent to AIM-9Bs, along with 2 30mm cannons, a great amount of speed, and superb maneuverability makes the J35A an extremely capable dogfighter. It has nearly unmatched agility and can routinely outturn most MiGs with ease. Though it does have somewhat low amounts of ammo, it is extremely accurate with its cannons and, as such, can lead to many kills, as both its accuracy and firepower per shell is excellent. I would say to climb, dive, and outturn hapless opponents as your main strategy, while avoiding turning too much in a low speed dogfight just because you can lose a lot of speed that way and you won't be as quick to accelerate as a J35D. Just be aware that your pilot will black out often, even when trained as an expert or even as an ace. To maximize your effectiveness, I would say to learn the velocity of the 30mm cannon shells so that you will end up using less ammunition. When using less ammo, you can oftentimes use less than 10 shells to take out enemies, sometimes hitting in as few as 2 or 4 shells. This is largely achieved by being able to turn in on opponents, making it so that you can close that gap on them while they turn in futility. Once sufficiently close, unload a few rounds for an easy kill. Alternatively, the J35A can serve as a close air support plane, albeit in a very limited role that requires excellent accuracy with unguided M56D rockets. You'll only have a maximum of 12 rockets, but they can shoot through upwards of 500mm of armor and have over 3.5 kilograms of explosive filler, meaning that you will be able to hit almost anything and kill them in one shot. Now, if you're good with these, the J35A can go from a 2.5 out of 10 for close air support to an easy 8 out of 10, as these are some of the best rockets in game. You just need to be good with them. Aside from that, your 30mm cannons do have a maximum of 47mm of armor pen, which is extremely useful versus lightly armored enemies, or if you'd like, to shoot enemy tracks. While the J35A is definitely a dogfighter through and through, it can still lay down the hate versus ground targets with a good enough pilot. From there, assuming that you're also able to equip your 2 RB-24AA missiles, you can also effectively destroy enemy planes, protecting your team from good enemy close air support. And now for the strengths and weaknesses, let's start off with the strengths as always, and first as a decent BR placement. It currently sits at 9.7 BR in both RB and AB. The J35A will at least oftentimes not face top tier enemies, which is definitely good. You're not going to be seeing those 11.0 enemies really ever unless you're in a squadron, so it's definitely good, and I could possibly see this dropping down to 9.3 BR, but it's difficult to say. Second, it has an extremely high top speed, especially for its BR sitting at 2250 kilometers per hour. Though you'll have a difficult time getting anywhere near that top speed, you can still outrun a large amount of enemies even when flying at the Draken's normal speeds. Now, along with its excellent top speed, the J35A also features a great rate of climb. Additionally, it features ridiculous maneuverability. In RB, it feels like you're flying an AB. In AB, it feels like you're flying a UFO, of which has not been seen in-game since the HO-229, but somehow this feels even better than that. For its fist strength, though it only has two 30mm cannons, they are extremely accurate and extremely hard hitting, rarely requiring more than 1 or 2 hits to either critically damage or outright destroy an enemy. And finally, it has great premium bonuses for both AB and RB. Grinding through the Swedish tech tree is a breeze with the J35A, assuming you do well enough in matches. Now for its weaknesses, while powerful if they hit, the J35A still maintains only 2 cannons, themselves with only 100 rounds of ammo each. If you do not hit, especially if you're not using anti-air ammo belts, you'll be in massive trouble very quickly, especially if you're using long bursts. Second, it has a weak secondary armament, has basic AA missiles and hardly any anti-ground ordnance, severely limiting its effectiveness in the close air support role for most pilots. The rockets are indeed powerful and accurate, however, you just need to be good with them, as the Draken A only gets 12 of those rockets, and again, it only has a very limited suite of missiles and a low amount of ammunition. Third, it has awful energy retention. The J35A will bleed speed incredibly quickly, especially when you're already moving slowly, and due to its weaker engine compared to the J35D, will not be able to regain that speed all too quickly. Fourth, it has no countermeasures. Typically, it's not too big of a deal at the BRs that it will be sitting, and it will be less of a big deal if it goes down to 9.3 BR, but it is still a pretty big deal, especially if you're moving slowly, because this does not, again, accelerate quickly enough where you might be able to dodge some of those missiles from a lower speed. Additionally, it has a very low fuel load. Unless you're playing AB, flying with a full 20-minute fuel tank will only last around 5 to 10 minutes in normal conditions if you're using your afterburner with any regularity. Additionally, even with a totally trained crew, the J35A can easily knock out any pilot with its intense G-forces. And finally, it's a fairly large plane and is somewhat easier to hit compared to, for example, a MiG or an F-5C. And now for my final recommendation, and though it is easy to fall into the trap of comparing the J35A to the regular tech tree J35D, I don't really know if you can, especially being that this is a premium and that the ultimate goal of purchasing the J35A is to reach the J35D, the JA37 Viggen, and whatever planes will be released in the future for the regular tech tree for Sweden. Thus, comparing the J35A to almost any other near top tier premium that are either similar in BR or cost about the same, such as the F5C, the A5C, the SU7 BMK, and even the J29D, you'll realize that the premium Draken almost feels like the odd man out. It is extremely focused on anti-aircraft duties, which severely limits its close air support effectiveness, meaning that other planes like the F5C, of which is still the best overall premium plane in War Thunder, check out my review listed below, or the A5C review, which will be coming soon, of which is essentially an upgraded Chinese attack variant of the MiG-19, will be more capable in more roles than the J35A ever will be. Does this mean that the J35A is a bad plane? Not at all. In fact, I genuinely enjoy it and think it's excellent, and I think that it's positioned to be a great grinder for the Swedish air tech tree, of which is something that it seems that more people might be interested in compared to the Chinese air tech tree. I think that overall the A5C is a more capable plane, as it has much better CAS capabilities, much better missiles, arguably better cannons, and really only lacks in top speed and maneuverability when compared to the premium Draken. Compared to the F5C, well, there is no comparison. The F5C is a better plane. The biggest problem, however, of comparing premiums in different tech trees is always going to be that you may want a certain vehicle in order to grind a particular tech tree. In that case, the J35A does a good job of acting as a grinder for the Swedish air tech tree, where at this point, the JA37 is the ultimate goal, along with whatever planes may come after it. The J35A is a potent plane, and much like the MiG-21 PFM, I can see it with the BR reduction in the future. With that BR reduction, I feel that it will be much more competitive at 9.3 than the J29D, for example, is at 8.7. Certainly, if nothing else, I found the J35A to be far more fun than the other high BR Swedish premium, the J29D, even if one could argue on the merits of which plane would be better at its respective BR. In short, I find that the J35A is a flawed plane, and it's certainly not the best high BR premium, at least overall, as the other premiums around this BR are, as of right now, more versatile and more capable overall for the most part. This, however, does not mean that the J35A is a bad plane. As a pure dogfighter, whether an Air AB or Air RB, it will outturn nearly all planes and be your best friend, as it is like flying a jet-powered Zero or a more advanced HO229. Even in ground RB, it can perform CAS in a pinch if it is ever needed to do so. Ultimately, while I will say that the planes like the F5C and A5C are better overall, the J35A is still a hell of a dogfighter where it sits as one of the most capable pure dogfighters at its BR and is a ton of fun to use while grinding the Swedish air tech tree. To place subjective values on how I rate this plane, I'd say that it's a 7.5 out of 10 in terms of dogfighting because it suffers from a lack of ammo and cannons, plus poor missiles, and has no countermeasures. It's also a 6.5 out of 10 for grinding because while it is a premium, its success is totally dependent on how well you will do in a given RB match and how good you are in dogfighting, as ground attack is rarely ever an option. For CAS, I'd rate this a 2.5 out of 10 for most players, but with a skilled user of rockets for CAS, it's probably going to be a 7 or even an 8 out of 10. While it can be devastating if you're again good with those rockets, that's all it has versus ground outside of the ability to destroy unarmored vehicles with its cannons. Overall, I'd say that the J35A is a 5.5 out of 10 at 9.7 BR and would easily be a 6.0 or even a 6.5 at 9.3 BR, possibly even a 7.0, which I suspect that it will be dropped to eventually as it is a deeply flawed aircraft and is not versatile, but is still extremely satisfying to play in air battles. So would I buy the J35A? Yes, but only if you have yourself set on grinding the Swedish air tech tree over the tech trees of other nations. That said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe. You know the dealio. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video, what improvements I can make on it. But either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.